So really glad that you're here. We have about 10 people from the community signed up to join us today. I'm Initial Courtney Berry, and I'm really pleased to welcome our community members and our first open house for James Hunter, our new Chief Lending Officer. Today you'll hear from James and other people on staff, including our C-suite and some of our staff who are here today. We're going to say a little bit about what we do at Alternatives, and we're going to give a warm welcome to James. I'm going to turn the program over to our great CEO, Eric Levine.
Well, thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you for everyone who is in attendance. James, it's so great to have you here. I am thrilled to have been part of the search team which brought you on board. James, you're exactly what we were looking for. Someone with extensive, diverse lending experience who knows how to safely and fairly deploy credit to people marginalized by the mainstream financial industry, people who fall victim to predatory lending, and you know very well that challenged credit should not be a barrier to getting a loan. It's so great to have you here. Someone with your stellar background, mission-driven experience, and great leadership. We welcome you to the C-suite. We know our best days are ahead of us with you here. And I would like to let other people at Alternatives welcome you as well. We have other members of our C-suite and staff and perhaps board in attendance. I know that I'm going to be calling on Karl Graham, Kevin Mietlicki, Chris Cain, Reiley, Schoen, and B. Nellenback, but if other people want to speak as well, you can just say what you do at Alternatives and welcome James. And with that, we'll start off with Karl.
Thank you, Eric. My name is Karl Graham. I'm the Chief of Community Development. I want to first thank those of you who are joining us. Great to see you, Lenny. Great to see you, Deirdre. I have the privilege of working with our staff who do financial education, both for adults and youth, the free tax program, business services and consulting. We get to do the mission-driven work, and we love it. And we're just proud to be able to serve our community. And we're really happy to welcome James. James comes from two community development credit unions, Hope and New Orleans Firemen. And we're looking forward to having discussions with James and learning from his experiences at those very successful community development credit unions. So once again, welcome, James.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my cue. I'm going to call on Kevin Mietlicki.
Again, hello. My name is Kevin Mietlicki, and I'm the CFO at Alternatives. And I just want to say welcome to James. James and I have known each other for about a year and a half. We actually met at a community development training. Probably one of the hardest things I've ever did, but one of the best experiences I've ever had in credit unions. People don't know what credit unions are from, what jobs they have, but James and I just kind of gravitated towards each other in the evenings when we actually had a little bit of free time. We got to talking about credit union philosophy, mission, what credit unions could be doing better at. And I'm just really happy to have gotten to know James, gotten to know his mission, and that he's brought that mission here to combine with ours in our communities. So welcome, James.
Thanks, Kevin. Chris Cain.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chris Cain. I'm the Chief Experience Officer here at Alternatives, and what that means that I get to help with development, so bring in money, and also oversee community programs. So we get to help fund the amazing initiatives that we have here at the credit union. So it's an amazing place to be. But also part of my job is going out into the community and speaking with not only individuals but community partners and potential partners to let them know about the amazing things that we offer to the community. Specifically, B and I are going out and telling folks about some of our new and innovative lending initiatives. And I have to say, James, I'm so excited about your enthusiasm, your experience, your attitude, your mantras that you bring to the table and inspire all of us. So I can't tell you how happy I am to have you here. And to see all these lovely faces here today. You guys have a great day. And Eric, who's next?
Thanks, Chris. Reiley Schoen.
Hey there, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm Reiley Schoen. I'm the Chief Operations Officer at Alternatives. It's great to see everybody here, especially my mentor, Lenny Hockman. I feel very glad to have her here in the room, and I've learned so much from Lenny. One of the things that I've taken away from her mentorship is just about the heart of Alternatives and how we impact our local communities. And through the work that I had done with Lenny, over the course of the years, one of the things that I had brought to her prior to her retirement was integrating more lending into member services. And so it's been a slow process, but we're finally getting there. And I'm very, very excited to welcome James into the Alternatives family, because I'm excited to hear his ideas about how we can make it a more seamless operation to get a one-stop shop for membership as they're opening up accounts or talking on the telephone, that a member experience associate can then help them not only with their operational and transactional needs, but they can also help them with lending, product knowledge, and getting them into products that would benefit them in the future. So I'm super excited to hear and learn from James's experience and how we can wrap that all together and make it a wonderful member experience for those that are already members of the credit union, and to put out into the world what we are offering, so that those that are not members who would like to be can just see how what our work does, who we are, how we stand for social justice, and how we want to build better communities. And I'm just super excited to see all of you here today. And I hope that this message and this ripple effect continues to go out, not only within the staff of, that we have here, but also those that join us today and continue to join us for these open houses. It's really important messaging, and thank you for those of you who've shown up and support what we're doing. And we hope that we can partner all together and make our community the best that it can be. So thank you.
Thanks, Reiley. B. Nellenback, you're up.
Hi, everybody. My name's B. Nellenback, and I work in the lending department, underwriting mortgages, assisting members in navigating through the home buying process, sometimes offering financial education and referrals in-house and to our partner organizations. Do my best to answer questions and be a trusted guidepost during a big financial moment in our members' lives. I'm also lucky, as Chris mentioned, to be Alternatives Lending Outreach Coordinator, which, as you may imagine, involves reaching out to members and potential members and our staff, our community partners. And the express intention is to connect people with the right resources and programs and services and products for them, so that regardless of where they may be in life and on the credit path, we have something to offer that will empower them, and really, most importantly, provide access to the next step for them on their financial journey. So with that, I am just really thrilled to welcome James Hunter to Alternatives, to get to work with him and the chance to work with him and the rest of our team towards Alternatives' mission of building wealth and creating economic opportunity for underserved people and communities. So together we can impact positive change in our shared community. So welcome, James. Really excited you're here. Thank you for leading our team.
Thank you very much, B. I see that our board president, Jessa Edwards, has arrived. Hi, Jessa. Would you like to say hello?
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Jessa Edwards, the president of the board of directors of Alternatives. The board oversees the general direction of the credit union. And I'm just kind of here to introduce myself, say hello, observe, be part of the conversation if necessary. Hi, everyone.
Thanks, Jessa. Would any other staff person or anyone else like to welcome James before I turn it back to Michelle? Okay, well, I am happy to turn this back to our wonderful Chief Marketing Officer, Michelle Courtney Berry.
Thanks, Eric. Thanks, everybody, for coming today. Some of you sent some questions ahead of time, so I'm going to read some of those. Please feel free to use the chat box. We're an informal team here at Alternatives, so you can just unmute yourself and talk as well, but some people feel more comfortable using the chat box. Grace is my counterpart, my colleague. She's one of our digital managers in marketing and will be handling, making sure that everyone feels heard. And so feel free to drop your question in the chat box, and I'm going to do something. James is very modest, so I'm going to read about James and introduce James and throw a few questions James's way. James's accomplishments are so huge that what I'm reading is literally like from pages of success. And so I'm probably going to embarrass him just a little bit, but his background, he's like our new BFF here. He's just hit the ground running, has created such a warm environment for the community and for staff. So I'll just read a little bit about his very impressive background. James was most recently the Executive Director of Lending and Mortgage Director of Real Estate Lending at New Orleans Fireman's Federal Credit Union in Metairie, Louisiana, a $182 million asset credit union. In concert with the credit union mission, James also spearheaded the creation of the Faith Fund. The Faith Fund is a nonprofit designed to help individuals and families better manage their money, escape predatory lending, and achieve financial stability. In James's words, the Faith Fund provided a financial hand-up to the underserved. Before this uplifting work, James worked at Hope Federal Credit Union, a $350 million asset community development credit union based out of Jackson, Mississippi. As the Senior Vice President of Mortgage, he provided steadfast leadership and creative vision for the mortgage division and Hope's overall strategic initiatives. I'm just going to let James Brown in. He's just joining us. During his tenure, mortgage lending increased by 117%, generating more than $50 million in loans across the Deep South, one of the most impoverished regions of the nation. In 2017, 99% of Hope's mortgage loans were high-impact loans made to first-time home buyers, BIPOC persons, and women. These loans also supported and highlighted the community development financial institution's mission to improve the lives of vulnerable families in a 5-state service region. James was also recently among 39 credit union professionals in the nation selected as a credit union rock star. This program is managed by the Credit Union National Association, and we're proud to say that James's colleague and friend, Kevin Mietlicki, is another credit union rock star. So we have 2 in the entire nation that work at Alternatives Federal Credit Union. We know that James and Kevin and many others here will continue to do great work and inspire and lead, and we're so happy that our community is here today. James earned his undergraduate degree in communication and marketing from Western Illinois University and is currently pursuing an MBA degree. Besides his numerous volunteer projects and commitments, he's incredibly proud of his work for Habitat for Humanity and Salvation Army's Angel Tree program. James also serves on the executive board of directors of Inclusive, where he's the chairperson of the Mortgage Committee. Inclusive is the new name of the National Federation of Community Development Credit Unions. Its mission is to help low and moderate income people and communities achieve financial success through credit unions. So that's just a little bit about James. I wanted to now open the floor to James telling us a little bit about himself, and then I'll start with some of the questions that folks sent ahead, either those who are here or those who couldn't be with us today. Thanks, James.
Well, thank you very much, team. I'm honored to say that I work with a group of servant leaders that are like-minded and are geared towards helping the community live their best financial life. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so pleased to be part of this great community. I've had the opportunity to go out, take walks, meet individuals throughout the community, and I've come to one understanding that this is just an amazing place to be, where there is so much sincere care and understanding for humanity. On that note, I want to take a moment to just tell you a little bit about the why behind what I do. I think in order to know me, you must understand that. But I also want to take time to share with you a little bit about my vision on lending and my philosophy. I think those will give you some insight about where we are and where we want to go. So I grew up in the housing projects on the south side of Chicago, a section of the city that is very well known for gangs, crime, and substandard living conditions, and also persistent poverty. However, determined to provide me with the quality of life, my mother, who was my influence, on a crossing guard salary, made an investment in me to try and break the financial wealth divide. She paid for me to attend a Catholic private school. In order to pay for that education, she worked as a volunteer and ran a Sunday school. And honestly, every year, this program we had called Imani would sponsor a family for the holidays. One year they selected my family. My mother, being as humble as I am, with tears in her eyes, said that she didn't want to be a handout. I can still hear the words of the woman who turned to my mother and said, "Helen, it's not a handout, it's a hand up." I watched my mom struggle and make sacrifices to provide for me and my family, but I also witnessed something a little bit more importantly, which was the fact that the cooperative approach was in full effect. I saw the power of a community come together to provide for people who were not being served in a proper fashion. I realized that that impact could be leveraged throughout my work and my career. And these lessons that I've learned, they still stand as a moral compass for me to this day. My vision, bridging the financial wealth divide by creating policies, products, and services that empower members of all walks of life to take control of their financial future. In short, bad things happen to good people, but when they happen, what do we do? Where do they turn? And I really think that it's through policies where real systematic change can be harvested. My philosophy, I think I share it openly every day in what I do, but I tell people in order for us to be successful at what we do, we have to be able to understand our niche. And that is the fact that we serve a pocket of people that other people run from, where we run to them. Serving the underserved is a badge of honor that I carry very hard to my chest. And I think in order to keep people where we have them, we have to get the business and find unique ways of reaching people where they are. We also have to find a way to keep the business. And I think that by keeping it, we follow up on individuals, members that are in our relationship, and find a way to offer products that are designed to help them move further in their financial quest for freedom. Also, we have to find a way to grow the business. And I think that we cross-sell products that we offer by listening to our community at large and find out what we can implement to make their lives a little bit more easier. I also share a very simple philosophy on how we get there. And it's involved in the 4 Ps, which I call people, product, process, and production. The people part of it is very simple. I think that it's in our people that we have that work for the credit union that we find our biggest competitive advantage. We have people who are not only devoted to their craft, but have also invested time and effort into earning designations to help the community with their financial situations that we just take for hard and say we're willing to help. Now, if we have the right people, I think that we can make a huge impact. And I feel that throughout my first month and change being there, that I truly have found people that are like-minded that want to share in our vision and mission at Alternatives. When it comes down to products, we have to stop before we get there, because I know that people always want to skip to that part, but we have to look at the policies. What policies do we have that are based on our ability to invoke change? And how do we find a way to look at what they are as is and to be? Currently, we have policies that are in place that reflect the period of time. And with any policy throughout the United States or in any world, they usually are a reflection of a time or a period that people are trying to make some kind of change. Well, in our environment, as you all know, we have come across a lot of change. And I think that we must look at our policy to make those changes that are inclusive of a society that is facing some of the turmoil and financial burdens that we all see every day. Now we move on to the bigger part, which is the process. I think we mentioned that through Reiley. That is so important to understand, a process that is going to be more streamlined to make a better member experience. And I think that involves with everyone being on the same page and understanding the best way to deploy our products that we've created in a way in which we can meet members where they are, provide them what they need, and also find a way to grow that business. That is very important to me. And I think that it all yields to one more successful piece of the puzzle, which is production. That is something that keeps us viable, something that keeps us relevant, but it's also something I think that is organic, that once you identify the right people, the right processes, the right policies, the right production is just a benefit of those things. And in closing, I'll say this. The good work of alternatives is something that I think is something to revel at. The mission, it stands for itself, to build wealth, create opportunity for underserved people and communities. That breaks down to one simple thing for me. It's based in the inherent founding of the credit unions, which is people helping people. And it's just, for me, that simple. So I want to thank you all for being here. I'm going to turn it back over to Michelle for questions. And I am so, again, elated to work with you in this community and serve. Thank you.
Thank you, James. We're so glad you're here. We've had a couple of these walks in the snow. So someone asked, one of the first questions that came in was, how do you like the snow? And I said, even though your last job was in New Orleans, you're a Chicago person, right? So is it fair to say you know snow, but do you like snow?
I think that that is a great question. I love snow because it is a sign of change, and it involves moving from one season to another. And in that change, you make the best of what you have. And growing up in Chicago, that was something that I had to do. Whether it be fall, hot summer, or a dead winter, we found ways as a family, as a unit, as a city, to say, what's the best thing to do right now? So yes, I love the snow.
Okay, well, I love that you always have, and we've been teasing you about your positive mantras. So you may not know that snow is sometimes in June here. So we're going to check back with you on May 31st to see how you love snow. Okay, next up, because our community is very brilliant and engaged and curious, two people who are on the call today submitted two identical questions, word for word. And this question was, are there any new loan products or processes that you hope to bring to alternatives?
That is a wonderful question, and I would love to entertain that. I think it falls back into what I mentioned earlier. Before we can move to that stage about new innovative products, we have to start with a very simple deep dive into the people. I think that it's imperative, and I'll say it again, that we invest in the people that work with alternatives and work with us through third-party relationships. From there, there's a process that I follow, which is involving the policies. I want to make sure that the policies that we have currently are designed and enabled to help us give an output for products that are going to help serve people who are in this situation we are in currently. But also, as Eric alluded to, I need to do that in a prudent fashion that protects the integrity of the credit union, but also serves the population at large. I'll share a sneak peek about what I feel. I think that as we look about the community and we find situations that are out there, that we listen to those ideas and we take them back to our humble lab and try to find out how can we mitigate those risks. One thing that I've talked about in a very loud fashion is providing a loan that bridges the gap for housing. I think that when you look at the two biggest concerns in housing for people who are paying rent is down payment and closing costs. So one of my thoughts is how can we bridge that gap to put people in a position that are ready for homeownership into those homes and turn those rent checks into mortgage payments. And I think that by offering a loan product that is conveniently able to allow that will be so monumentally important to help people who are wanting to live that American dream and be homeowners finally attain that goal.
Thank you. Next question, what are some of the similarities and differences between your last credit union, New Orleans Firemen's Federal Credit Union, and Alternatives Federal Credit Union?
Well, I say this, from my previous credit union to where I'm at now, the culture, the mission is identically the same. It doesn't waver on the fact that we have like-minded people that are serving a pocket of individuals that are not served properly. And we're trying to bring light to the dark and run into places where others run from. And with that, we find ourselves faced with the challenge of how do we do that? How do we deploy resources to accommodate all of these requests? But I think it's really simply laced in the fact of using our resources in the cooperative approach to help people understand the credit union difference. The fact that both credit unions I've worked for, my previous and this one, share the same designation, it gives me hope that we are like-minded and on the same page and on the same course to bring impact to a community that thrives and thirsts for it. So to answer the question in short, very similar, but yet in different ways, very different. Only difference I'll say is the fact that what I noticed here at the Credit Union Alternatives is that we have a special niche of people who have stories that identify with the mission that we try to uphold. And we also have invested into our staff to earn designations to be credit union financial counselors and help people who are trying to get from an understanding of not knowing to knowing. And I think that investment right there is going to yield a lot of benefits once we leverage that in a proper fashion to deploy it so people can take advantage of it. We have a lot of smart people, a lot of bright people, a lot of highly motivated people that want to make a difference. And not saying I didn't see that in my previous credit union, but I think the investment in that designation shows a lot of commitment to our community.
Thanks, James. How is the transition going so far? With COVID, it must be a strange time to move, start a new job, and connect with new people.
That truly has been a very influential part of my start. I've looked at different ways to try to mitigate that. I think technology has taught us a favor that we can use that to meet people where they are. But that human interaction is something that you yearn for. But against the backdrop of COVID, we have to be mindful of the sensitive people that may be exposed to it that could be brought down or be compromised by the exposure. So I do go into the office regularly, but I do isolate myself in a position because I love being there, making myself available to people in a safe, socially distanced fashion. But also, I think it goes back to my statement about the people. I know people that come to work every day for a purpose, and I want to be part of that group of people that's serving and being there to help them in their quest to serve people who are needing the help. So it's a unique scenario, but I think that with everything just like snow in June, you make the best of it.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that. There's one more question, but I thought would be great is to open the floor to any other questions that there may be that weren't sent in ahead of time. James, you have represented here the head of the United Way, membership director from the Tompkins County Chamber of Commerce, 2 former employees, and a former family court judge.
Well, welcome to all. I welcome the questions from you, please, and thank you.
You can unmute yourself or ask to unmute and ask a question, or you can put the question in the chat box. If there's, go ahead, Len.
I just want to say, as somebody who worked at Alternatives since almost the beginning for 32 years, it really warms my heart to hear you. The mission of the credit union is, everything to me, and to know that all of you and the new CLO have it so deeply embedded is brings tears to my eyes. So really glad to hear it, James.
Thank you very much.
This follows up with what Lenny just said. There was, oh, I'm sorry, Ritza, did you want to go? Please go. Yeah.
Okay, I just had a just more of a welcome. Hi, James. I work at my name is Ritza Francois. I work at the Tompkins Chamber. We just want to welcome you. As a member of the Federal Credit Union, it feels really good to have you as a representative for our community. So if you ever have any questions about, getting to know people in the community, we're your go-to, along with everyone in this space as well. So I just wanted to say welcome.
Thank you very much for the well wishing. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, Ritza. One follow-up question that ties into both Lenny and Ritza's warm welcome around kind of celebrating that mission-driven work. You seem to be a very positive person. What ways do you continue to inspire yourself when there have to be times when you must feel down?
That's a very simple question. I look at the upbringing that I had. I look at the sacrifice that people have afforded me to be where I am today. And I look at the answer that has always come as a question that I've always asked about how can I help repay? And I've always been told one thing from people who have put me on their shoulders to elevate me, which is to do for others as I've done for you. So as I look across people in their scenarios, situations in life, I look at things that are a lot worse at times. And I see the joy in people who come out of those instances and have those moments where they can achieve financial freedom or independence. And I revel in that. So I made a statement, and you're going to hear me with mantras again, but James Baldwin in my article you guys received makes a very clear statement that anyone who's ever experienced poverty knows how extremely expensive it is to be poor. I associate with that so wholeheartedly that for me to be in a position where I am right now, what gives me the right to feel anything other than grateful amidst any kind of adversity? Because I too know what it's like, and I know what it's like to be on the other side of it. So I think it's my mission and my duty to help inspire others to give that hand up that others are looking for so they can too live that life and feel the same way.
Anyone else? They don't have to have a question. You can just have a greeting or a comment for James.
Hi, James. I'm the other former employee, Karl. I worked at the credit union for 13 years in community development and bringing in external funds. And then I worked as a consultant, including with a number of credit unions in Louisiana. And New Orleans firemen was always spoken of so highly. And of course, Hope is such a leader that I was really excited to see you coming in with that experience and coming from that context. So I'm really glad to have you here.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for your time, your commitment and servant leadership that you provided. It speaks volumes about you and your commitment. I say that my experience at Hope was immaculate. It was amazing to work with some of the most thoughtful leaders in the industry, but more importantly, to see how you can impact change with little to no resources. But also working at New Orleans Firemen's Credit Union, that's the second oldest federal credit union in the United States. That right there taught me about the deep-rooted history of credit unions and how the philosophy and the spirit of cooperative approach is just vital to how we celebrate our credit union difference. So I'm thoroughly committed to this mission, and I thank you for the acknowledgement.
And one piece of good news for those of you who don't know, Bill Bynum from Hope has been named by Joe Biden as an advisor to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau.
I think that is amazing. I'll share this from my knowledge. At one point, Bill Bynum was the chairman of the CFPB. And I think that his knowledge and understanding of the complexities involving economic divide will prove beneficial as he serves. I always give people mantras, and I'll tell you that I always say that I don't like talking about my accomplishments and what have been done. I think that success leaves clues. And if anyone can trace my history back to hope and see what great work has been done, and also see the work of Bill Bynum, they can get an idea of what I stand for.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any more questions?
I'll just have a.
Hi, James.
Hi, Michelle. Hey, James, I'm James Brown with United Way, and I just want to welcome you to the community. I've been looking forward to your arrival, and I look forward for the opportunity to meet you in person and go on this journey with you. So welcome. And I am a fellow Midwesterner. I am from St. Louis originally, so we're close together in terms of where we come from. But welcome to this wonderful community. I know you will make a difference. It's just so great seeing you.
Well, James, thank you for that. I tell you this, that I look forward to working with you as well. I think that it's a cooperative approach in which we can make a difference. I'm looking forward to also talking to you about that poster behind you, because you gave yourself away by giving me that Michael Jordan.
Fair enough. I look forward to it.
Yes, sir.
Does anybody have anything else to add? We're going to experience something in Ithaca called an early end to a meeting, potentially. We were scheduled to go to 1:15. I'm just going to make a couple brief announcements, which are, we're going to do a rinse and repeat of this. So if you enjoyed this and you want to come back on December 2nd, we welcome you back with wide open arms. That's for our community. The staff will be here as well. If you liked what you heard, I'm going to be sending all of you who registered just another quick update about James so you could read more. He has his own landing page and his own press kit. So we'll be sending that to you, as well as I'll send you the flyer, which is just announcing the next open houses. So what you saw today will repeat again on December 2nd from 12:15 to 1:15. And then on the 11th, James is going to share the stage with other individuals from the credit union. That's going to be a special program that we're announcing called Holiday Stress Management and Your Financial Health. So we'll hear from James again talking about stress-free lending decisions. Kevin will join us with about financial tips during the holidays, and Kim Ritter, who is our financial empowerment specialist, will join us and talk about how financial counseling can help you any time of the year, not just at the holidays, but we know that's a very stressful time during the year. And then Kathleen Clark, our Director of Business Development, will talk about the value of buying local. We'll give a sneak peek to our virtual holiday market, and I will give a couple updates on how you can take easy breathing techniques to reduce your stress at this time. It'll be particularly extra stressful for our communities with COVID and the normal holiday pressure that people often feel. Chris, did you want to say something? Or did I make up that you had your hand raised? Okay, I thought I saw you move. Okay, Jim Kerrigan is saying hello and welcome. For some reason, I'm unable to say hello and can't get in. So what I'll do is I'll touch base with Jim, and I will find out what he wanted to say and make sure I bring that forward for December 2nd. So we have a chance to end a meeting way earlier than anticipated. Before we go, I'll give James the floor to say goodbye to us. We're thankful to those of you on staff, on board, in our community. Thank you, Jessa, for joining us today and for all your leadership on our board. Thank you, lovely staff who live the mission every day. And thank you, our beautiful community who've made such a warm welcome to our new Chief Lending Officer, James Hunter.
Thank you again. Everyone, I want you to have a wonderful afternoon. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to talk and understand a little bit more about alternatives and what we do and who I am. And happy holidays.
Thanks. And I think I saw Deirdre. Did you say, were you wanting to say anything, or were you waving? Do I keep catching people waving and they're not really wanting to speak? All right, so happy holidays. We'll see you all December 2nd and December 11th once more for our open houses. This is Alternatives Federal Credit Union wishing you a wonderful day.